So look here and look here. This is an indigenous Igbo shrine, a place of worship, a place where we communicate with our ancestors, a place we communicate with the divine forces. And when you look at it, you will see that we have feathers, it has blood on it. It has white chalk, a dough that has been sprinkled on them. Now we now look at these ones here. What's familiar here? It is well arranged, it is golden, it's very neat, it is very presentable. So the question here is the modification of ancestral shrine necessary in order to suit a modern narrative? Now, is it necessary to modify this to this in order to suit a modern narrative? Or is it better that we leave our system the way it is? Because if we are honest, if we look at the people that are engaging with this system, their houses are not as clean as this. And how they see the world, where they even sleep or where they go to. Because I tell people, it's so ordinary. Ordinary is a poor man's belief system. It's a poor man's belief system because it caters for the poor of the poor. The kind of people that if you see them in churches, you're going to chase them away. Ordinary caters for them. And their spoken or unspoken laws in ordinary. When you're performing an Igbo ancestral tradition rites, and a mad person or somebody that is psychologically not there comes, you would welcome that person, give that person a seat. Anything you're sharing, you will give to that person. Now, one thing that is popular in the churches is that we have separate seats for the rich. When you go to a shrine, there is no separate seat for the shrine. If a big man and a poor man goes to the shrine, if it's the mad person, two of them would even sit down on the same pew. Two of them will sit down in the same place. So, ordinary is well rooted in attending to the poorest of the poor in our Igbo society. So, if we are modifying this system to this system, it's become sketchy because would it now be able to attend to this poorest of the poor? People that are not just there yet. Would it be able to cater for their needs fully? But when you now go to these churches, the auditorium, the places, how they present all those places, people that are not really there, and with how they dress and how would they be allowed to enter into these places? So, but aside from that, someone actually asked me, when are we going to modify our shrines, our places of worship and veneration? Because of the kind of interface, they see it as being is a filthy place. But they also forget that we deal with organic perishable energies in ordinary. You see Eba Kwalaja, where they prepare the sacrifice. They would even allow it there to ferment, to even decay for a while before they take it out. And all those things has its functions and all what it does. And you see them going to the water to bring they will go to the water and bring in the water, and that water could be there for a while because they will now pour blood, pour all those things inside it. Then after a while, they will change it. So there are so many reasons why, if people ask me, when are we going to change this thing from fields to this? It's as if they are trying to tell us to change the fundamentals that make up our ancestral belief system. Some even said, what's the essence of bloodletting? We should no longer engage in bloodletting. Why do we, in this modern age, why bloodletting? Look at Buddhism, look at, Indians and their Hinduism and all those things. They offer flowers and all those things. But in ordinary, every system has what you approach them with. For instance, if you want to perform water rites, you know well not to perform water rites with blood. You're not going to do any bloodletting. So you get your edibles, your fruit items, and if you have any blood, maybe any animal there, what you will just do when you're done, you leave that in there to just survive. I look at it as a form of animal conservation. So imagine 100 of us go to the water, buy animals, and just, we're not eating them, we're not even feasting on it, we are allowing it to go. We're conserving. It's our own contribution to it. So when I see people asking all these questions, when are we going to change our place of veneration from this place of filth to a place of gold and all those things, I smile, because it's all boils down to our perception, the perception of self. Now, for instance, when the white men, I'm just introspecting, when the white man were trying to bring the idea of church, when they're trying to build their church, they are seeing it as this big, beautiful place, this place of gold and riches and wealth and all those things. So they were trying to replicate the imagery, the image they have about heaven, about the dwelling place of God in the church. Now, all the church that you go is well dressed, it's beautiful, it is well laid. But when you now come to the Igbo traditional system, our perception of an afterlife is still that our immediate society, our homes. You see that mud house, except now that the mud house has been changed, but you see that mud house, that you have in the village. If somebody tells you create an image of the ancestral plane, that mud house is what you're still going to talk about. This is why when people have these dreams, these apparitions, and they tell you, oh, I dreamt about an ancestor teaching me something, and you ask that person, wow, explain the environment, the person will tell you, oh, I was in a mud house, or I was in the bush, I was in the forest, and I was under this giant tree, I was under this, when I dream and I see myself in a shrine, what I'm seeing are all those thick ancestral forces, like big forces that I've never seen in my life. It could even be a cave. So when our ancestors were trying to build a replica, an imagery of themselves and their interaction with the divine, they were not going for fancy places. They weren't going for a place well adorned with gold and sort of all these items, all these things you see in the church. It is still that mud house. It is still trees. It is still a place filled with love and laughter. Now, as we grow in our consciousness as Africans, as we develop, as we are no longer building our homes with mud, we're now building it with bricks and cement, you will now see shrines that are being laid the same way. But when you now come to the particular interface, some still preserve it that way. If it is some that used an Obanju is a different, this white chalk that we use for ancestral veneration, a heap of it or a whole of those white chalk, we call it Obanju. It is still there in some of these places. Some people even kind of maybe it's something they're building recently. You'll see them using cements and all those. I don't even know why they do it, because ordinary is supposed to be nature based. So what they are even supposed to use to build such places, such particular interface as a wood carved from spirit trees, osisi or obanju or mud. It is supposed to be nature based. So when we're now building something outside of it being from nature, being using cement and all those things, it is not going to make that place ineffective, no, but it is removing it from our indigenous identity. So that's why I don't really accept people using bricks and cement to attach to all those places. So finally, if there is any need for Igbo for us to change this into this, it shouldn't be because we want to imitate this or we want to make these places to be approachable. Because I used to think if these people if we had no interaction with these people, how would these places still be? So we shouldn't change these places only because we want it to look like this, because the intent is not the same thing. The indigenous people that has this religion see it as this, sees their afterlife as this. The indigenous people that have this sees their afterlife as this because of our nature-based practices. So if for any reason we want to change how these things are being perceived, it should be because that we still find value in places like this still being like this. In places like this still being like this. So this is why I don't tell people, don't go and start bringing gold and start trying to make it to be all decorative and all glamorous. No, bring it down to what it is. So I hope I'm able to answer this question, and you can also give me your own opinion. I'm also there to learn from you as well. And don't think that I don't value change. Of course I value change, but I still believe that the intention of changing things matters more than the physical things that we are saying. So let our intention of changing things also represent our originality. Because if we skip from our originality and to this, we're just chasing shadows. It's just telling an African woman, don't wear your natural hair. That does not mean I don't wear. Sometimes I just add weaves. But just like telling an African woman and telling an African woman, your natural hair is not beautiful. Why don't you cover it up with wigs? No, that shouldn't happen. We shouldn't be taught these kinds of things. And unfortunately, that's what the world is. It's what the world embraces. And this is why I'm bent on, us having a different orientation. So whenever we decide to change our shrines and make them to be, let me say, make them to appeal to other people, we should not allow these places to lose their originality, because their originality represents our perception of an afterlife, while this is a representation of an afterlife for a certain group of people. So don't forget to subscribe and share this video, and until next time, yeah guys, yeah.